we go. Race number 2 of the Try and Z eSeries 2022, brought to you by Domestique. We didn't talk enough about Barry last week, so we'll talk about him a bit more tonight and everything he's up to. But my co-commentator, Rob, is back from Cairns.
I am back.
Rob?
Thanks for having me. What was that?
How's Cairns?
Oh, Cairns was beautiful. So sunny. It was, they all say it was cold, all the locals, and I was there. I don't know if I wore a jacket the whole time, and it was beautiful. Great race to watch, and great place to go for holiday.
Awesome. Now, look, before we get into the map and the course tonight, I do want to have a look at the results from last week. So we get a bit of a feel for what we've got in store with the teams and the individuals tonight. So this is the rider standings from race number 1. Category A results. This was Ben Ruth. That was amazing. You can see the points there on the right. 70 points. Huge lead over Mark Bosted in 47th. But a good battle on our hands between Mark and John Story. He's in 46 points in 3rd. Jan Litchwak in 37 and Thomas Williams in 31. On the women's side, Vanessa Murray. She didn't win on the day, but she took so many points. So 63 points for her. Charlotte Lucas, she was the outright winner, 56 points. Amy Hollenby, 42. Britt Lytton, 41. That's another little battle to watch. And Fiona Gallagher in 5th with 32 points. Rob, do you want to take away the B Cats?
Yeah, and in the Bs, S. Ruth. I don't know if S. Ruth is a relation to Ben Ruth, but we never know. Steve Platt in 2nd. Grant Tufts, close behind in 3rd. Tom Burgess. Now, this is, of course, for Tom, this one. 39 points, and Devon Manchester close behind in 5th. Sarah Meadows, Hannah Martin, Nick Hankinson, and Janine Sharma, Saskia Holditch. There's some close racing between the sort of 3rd to 5th in that race, but the first two look like they've got a pretty good lead so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking here at the rider standings for the C category men, Wayne Ellis with 44 points, Jock Prue with 40, Will Verrar 39. There's so few points in between these. 37 for Zach Holzer, Joe Sutherland on 32. On the women's side, Deirdre Lack 1 point ahead of Julia Spark on 62, Flo Loader back on 48, Narama Milner Olsen on 41, and Gail Harvey Hayward on 31. So tight battle at the top. What about the Ds?
Yeah, looking at the Ds. Sam Mayhew, Dr. Sam Mayhew leading that one, 62 points.
I think he's up to C now. I think he's going to C tonight.
Of course, he should be. Andrew Bull, 2nd. Fabio Sanchez in 3rd. Grant Utteridge, Tony Sangster, not far behind. And in the women, Catherine Moran, Michelle Allison, Hilary Meyer, first 3. Victoria Wilshire and Sarah Carswell. Carswell being a famous name in cycling. I assume it's from the same family, so plenty of talent in that name.
Nice. And finally, looking at, you'll love looking at this one. We've got the affiliated clubs on the left, coach groups on the right. Tri Wellington, great showing, 160 points, quite far ahead of Triathlon Tauranga, which surprised me. Canterbury Tri Club back in 3rd, Auckland City on 4th, and Hibiscus Coast, that has been led, I would imagine, by, I think it's Barry Herbison and Ellie Boggs representing there. They are hauling in the points. On the coach group side, Rob, it's you, Foot Traffic Endurance Coaching, miles ahead.
Look at that lead. CK. I don't often lead CK in races, but I'm pretty proud of this one.
That's awesome. CK Coaching in 2nd. O'Hagan Sport, which is awesome to see that crew still out. They love their Zwift, and I know Tony loved it too. So good to see them there. Perimeter Coaching in 4th, and Erin Finesse Coaching out of Hamilton. She is in 5th. Now, we will have a look now, if you can tell us, Rob, about this course. Is it for the sprinters or is it not?
Yeah, this is a course for the sprinters. I mean, there are some hills, but the hills come very, very early, and they are extremely short, sharp, punchy hills. So, a sprinter-type athlete can get over these hills really, really well, and there's enough recovery after the second one to pull back into the group and start the long slog up to the sprint circuit. And that slog is about 1.5 km long, but it's plenty draftable, and the astute Zwifters will know how to get up those hills if climbing isn't one of their specialties. So great way to start a race, because it's really going to take out a lot of the it's going to set it up for those people that really want to attack strong from the start, and might create a little group off the front who can then work away at getting the points. but it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. The sprint segment is very, very flat, very, very fast, and it's a good lead into the sprint as well. So again, those people who know the course will benefit greatly from this on this race.
Okay, that's some good tips there from Robin. He has become, much to my delight, a Zwift addict. I still remember our conversation about 4 years ago where you're like, oh, no, never.
Why?
Look at you now.
Why? I'm level 50 now. What do I do next? I've clocked Zwift. What do I do now?
Oh, no, there's
Just
small
keep going.
levels. We've got 30 seconds till the women's start. It looks like quite a competitive field out there today. And we will go down early. I just want people to see the kind of starts that people have here. And also, we hit the climbs very, very early on. So those 3 back-to-backs, it's going to be... I've done this course and... you need a really good warm-up. And I have seen, we've actually got some rider cams going on from people's suffer rooms. So we're going to be pulling those into the feed today as well, which would be awesome because already I can see people are sweating a lot and they haven't even started.
Great.
So huge warm-up needed. We've got eyes on the race now, so let's head down and have a look.
Yeah, one trick with this race, and this course in particular, is it's a downhill start, and anybody who isn't switched on in the first kilometre or so can actually get gapped off the back. And if you're an individual rider trying to chase a group on a descent, you can say goodbye to them. So very, very smart start is required here. And as we can see that Fiona Gallagher, who extremely talented racer, straight to the front.
Yeah, I got to say, she is actually on my Zwift racing team. So I race on Zwift in a team. You can see the name there right behind her. And she is actually on that team. I don't think she would have been super happy with her performance last week. I know she probably wanted a lot more out of herself, but this is the kind of course. I know we use her a lot on these kind of courses where, you know, a lead out, you can actually get away and have some awesome sort of 1-2 attacks on these sprint segments. So this is looking really good. And everyone's staying together on this downhill. So I think everyone knows what they're all about.
The interesting thing with this field, and looking at Fiona in particular, is if it does end up as a breakaway and she is off the front, she is one of the favoured riders to do very well in this course. So it's going to be interesting to see how she copes through that race, and whether those are her tactics are to go to attack it or save her matches for those sprints and just try and wait for a race of attrition. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Fiona does this race.
Absolutely. Catherine Moran here too. I did see just from that shot we had up earlier, there's a lot of black jerseys. Now those black jerseys are NZ Bro, the New Zealand Esport Racing Organisation. Awesome crew. I know you've got a lot to do with them. I'm on their Discord usually before the races. So thanks for the shout out, Catherine. This is a great crew that have just done amazing things coming out of the New Zealand community. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't really know where to start or what to do, get in touch with Barry from Domestique, hire a trainer, get in touch with NZ Bro and get on Zwift because you won't look back.
Absolutely. And it's such a supportive group. And we actually have people from all around the world. It's not just a New Zealand only team. So that's the cool thing about it. We have teammates from. It's my team, so I'm able to talk about this. But then we've got people from all over the world. So you can be racing a New Zealand team, but with Norwegians and Swiss and French athletes and Australians and all sorts. So it's great.
Now, I do want to pull in a special rider here. She's a Commonwealth Games athlete, mountain biker, amazing, Sonia Foote. So we'll keep an eye on her because this is the first climb that they're hitting now. It's 11%. You can see the grade, top right-hand side of the screen there. And look how hard she is working. She's putting in a bit of an attack.
Working.
383 watts. I mean, what do you think about that style? Up out of the saddle, pushing. I love that jersey behind her too. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, this is exactly the way to attack that sort of section of the course. It's it requires a lot of torque and a lot of power, and the best way to do that is in a big gear and just get out of the saddle and stomp it. And she's really strung this group out quite nicely. She did this last season, and it was a tactic that worked a lot for her. So it's clearly one that really makes a difference. And they're on the cobbles here now, which actually makes a difference again because suddenly the resistance has increased. But as they hit this descent, sharp left-hander, and then they go into the next climb already. So it's a really, really fast, intense section. And you can see that already it's split up. There's about a 4-second gap back to the second group on the road. So that first climb has really made a difference. Now, whether or not that 4 second opens much, and over this, because here we go, second climb now. We might see
Oh,
that gap double, but there's enough of a flat in the descent section after it that it may all come back. But as you can see, that Sonia Foot's just going straight to the front again,
oh, that
just 8
effort.
watts
I mean,
kilo.
63 watts a kg. I actually DS'd for her when she raced representing New Zealand in the World Champs, eSport World Champs earlier this year. And it was great. I mean, she is no joke, a huge power rider. So this is phenomenal to see. Just actually the caliber of the people around her as well. I mean, Com Games mountain biker, she's putting down the watts, she's throwing it down. This is the last climb for them. This is coming up to the Libby Hill QOM reverse. These are not for points, so this has purely been for them to break up the pack. And wow, has she done a great job
Having
of
that
that?
effect.
But look at that
Yeah.
heart rate, Rob. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, she's working hard, but and already it's we're at it's they're up to be seconds on that second group. So there you go. First move of the race was within 5 minutes, and that's a significant thing. I don't think that group's going to close back, because looking at the group that is in the second pack, they have to work so hard to get back up onto this front group. I mean, there's Vanessa Murray there, who's one of the best Ironman age group athletes in the world, and looks like Anthea Oliver's in that group. She's an extremely strong Zwift racer as well.
Yeah.
Carly Francis, Amy Hollenby. Is Britt Litton in there?
Has she been dropped? That
Yep.
would be. Oh,
Britt's in
she's
there
there.
as well. Fiona's there. So that's probably one of the most experienced. It's the group of some of the most experienced Zwift athletes. That race in New Zealand right now, even internationally. So it's going to be hard for that second group to come back. I'd say this group's going to stay away. They're going to gobble up the points, and it's going to be a real race of attrition with these guys.
Now, as it flattens off on
Interesting.
the women's side, we have got the men out on course, so we will go down with them. They're just on that downhill that we talked about earlier, and we do have Ben Ruth out on course today, and I do actually have a camera with. He's got someone next to him, so I'm not sure who he's riding with. It is a young person, so I'm actually not sure if I can pull that into screen. We do have a few little sensitivities about pulling in younger riders into the feed, so we do have Ben Ruth there, but I would love to know though later that must be the S Ruth that we saw taking out the
yeah,
so
might well be.
amazing. I'm loving the imagery here.
And
I hope we can pull it in next time. We probably just have to get some permissions, but man, that is awesome to see him and his son riding next to each other. That is what I want to see in a few years' time with my kids.
Yeah, and look at Ben already. He's just laying it down. I mean, he's doing exactly what Sonia Foot did in the women's race. Bobby Cowles is chasing him. This is stretching that group out as well. Any of those A's that are in the back of that pack will be having to work so hard over the top of this to get back in that descent before they hit the second climb. But Ben has just opened up. Ben and Bobby have opened up a second on that the chasers, and they're beginning to close across. Ryan Kiesanowski, good to see him back racing. He obviously has fixed his broken foot from coast to coast, which is good to know. But there's some great athletes in there. Sean Blackie, that's Vanessa Murray's partner, her husband.
Yep, Ryan Kiesanowski's back. It's good to see him again.
Yep. Jan Lichwak, he was racing, and he's well up in the points as well. And Jan's a great racer. He knows how to work this course over as well. So they've just created this climb by the looks of it, and they're heading towards.
Yeah, they're
here
heading
they
towards
go,
Libby
just at
Hill
the carry now.
reverse. And I just do want to pull in Thomas Berry. He's out there, and he actually rides for BL13, which is another amazing Zwift racing team out there. So expect to see a lot from him coming in. Here's him in his suffer room. Nice close up. Looks like he's in the super tuck, chilling out there for a bit. He is at 180 beats a minute. Let's see. We watched Sonia Foot going up the last climb, and we saw the effort. I'm interested to see if he gets out of his saddle, because that's a strategy I use. And there we go. Straight up out of the saddle. So that is winning strategy on these climbs.
And he's gone well. He's moving up through the field. Interesting looking at the bikes here, Annie. I mean, you know as much as any anyone how good a Tron bike is, but there is a mixture of riders with discs as well. So perhaps some of them have a strategy around their bike choice. But this is really a great course if you've got a Tron,
Yeah.
because there are a few bumps to get over early on, and the Tron bike does climb very well. But when you come onto the flat, you obviously compromise a little bit on all-out speed and aerodynamics, and the bikes with disc wheels go very well there. We
Yeah,
can just see.
I think the best
Yeah, what's
advice
your
I
thoughts?
got, yeah, the best advice I got, and I run with it now, which is the reason why I very rarely am on the Tron, is you pick the bike for where the decisive parts of the race are going to happen. So the Tron, yes, overall on this course, it's probably the fastest. However, the points are on the sprints.
Hmm.
All those people on disc wheels are going to beat the Tron on the sprints. So yes, there are
And
some
a lot of disc
climbs,
wheels got
but
over.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got Mark Bosted there. He's on a disc. I
he's on a
mean,
disc. Yeah,
that has just put you at such an advantage in those sprints. I mean, you're looking at it could be just it could actually be the difference. And I think
yeah.
really good work there from Mark Bosted. He has worked on a sprint. I've commentated on a lot of his community races, and he has got a great sprint going on. So yeah, this will be good to see how he's going. On the women's side, they're just hitting the second. Well, it's kind of this last climb heading into where they'll start the flats and start these sprints. So let's have a look at a side by side here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they attack, if anyone is attacking this climb, because it looks like they're bunched up, but it is one of those ones where if you string it out and you create a second gap between someone else, that suddenly they lose that draft and it makes a big difference. But it does look like they're sitting up. They seem to be riding together for this climb, and perhaps they're just prepared to wait for the sprints now, knowing that the points are all up for grabs. Obviously, there is a sprint there is a sprint banner at the top of this climb, but it's actually not a sprint banner that's in play. It'll be interesting to see if people have read the rules. We might see someone go off the front try and have points there, but there's actually not. There's actually no points on this one. So they'll come around a corner, they'll turn a left, and they'll see a banner in front of them. That's not up for grabs. It's further on down the course where they'll hit the sprint points. But it's going to be interesting. I've actually been in a race where two of my teammates have broken away after the sprint banner and have gone on to win it on a flat course, and they're not necessarily sprinters. So this is a course where a breakaway rider can still win in a race, and that was in a big field with a lot of riders in it. So, a smart rider who can counter-attack after a sprint, if everybody sits up, with another two or three riders with them, can get away and stay away. So let's see anyone's game in doing that. And as right now, we can see Fiona's moving up to the front a little bit, stretching them out.
Yeah, and
Looks like
sorry, I just want to see Blake Miller. He was out. He stepped in for you while you were gallivanting around Australia last week, Rob. And,
he did well.
Yeah, he's going to see how this new guy holds up. I think you're doing all right, Rob. I think you're doing all right. Also, a bit of a shout out. Thanks for everyone to coming into the socials. Reminder, we do have the Rider of the Night to give away. Now, I will take a huge lean on that for the people watching. So people watching, tell us who you think as the race progresses. Last week we had... Heather Neal on the women for managing to pull back massively on the climb, and then Ben Ruth, who managed to just take basically every point out there on offer. So, come into the chat and tell us who you think's looking good for Rider of the Night tonight.
So the women have just crested that climb, and as I said, you'll see they come to a banner, which is not the sprint banner. Now, like I said, I'm looking forward to see if everybody's read the rules here. If we're talking about sprinters, the ones we really need to look at, Britt Litton's probably the strongest sprinter in the field. She's got a really good 15-second sprint. So and I know she's an aggressive racer, and she really wants to rip this up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how people attack this race now that we're on the flats. We're on the flat section. Yeah. They have got almost a minute on the second group, so unfortunately that second group, we're probably not going to see them come back. Great, no one went for the sprint banner, so that's good to see. So now we're in.
Everyone knows. I do just want to pull up Margot Southgate. Sorry, Rob. She's racing for the bees. Looks like she might be in second place, and here she is. I mean, she is on the flat and suffering out of the saddle, grinding away. I mean,
70 RPM.
What does she do? I mean, this is why she's doing it. She is working her ass off to get to that group in front. You can see there, they're just there, 5 seconds away. She's got Goldrick ahead of her, and there's a whole group she must get on if she wants to have any chance of a podium in the speed category. So you
she's
can
doing
see
well,
the
and
effort. Look at it.
She has some other B races in that field, so she's doing the right move to get across to them. 6 seconds, it's close. She's got 10 seconds on the group behind. She's opened up that margin, but now she just has to finish the deal and get across to them.
Yeah, this is
a
the
great
hard
job.
work it takes in Zwift to be able to get up to this group. I mean, it's devastatingly close. It's kind of fluctuating 6 to 7 seconds, and it's horrible to watch. She's up out of the saddle again. I mean, this is huge effort. 160. That's right at her absolute VO2 max. And
what she has to do is keep an eye on those runners in that group in front at their watts per kilo, and always be going probably half a watt per kilo higher than them to know that she's going to pull them in, because it's a group. Group moves faster than an individual, and as you can see, she's at 3.7. Group in front of her is sitting around 3, so she's kind of on the right track, but she needs to keep on top of it. She needs to keep pushing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's committed to it.
She's committed 10 seconds though. Unfortunately, she's in no woman's lane. You got 9 seconds ahead to the group in front, 9 seconds to the rider behind. So brutal position to be. We'll check in with Margot later, but that was a little indication of what it takes in the BCAT.
She's working very hard.
She's working very hard. So the women are still a little bit away from that first sprint banner. So let's check out what's happening in the men. There was a short breakaway there with Thomas Berry and Mark Bosted up this climb. So they're on this climb that heads up to the flatlands, and this is the last climb for tonight before they start heading over to that sprint area.
And they're almost at the top of it now. And as you can see, that group's kept together pretty nicely. The riders in the back know that there's drafting ability in here. It's only about 6%. And so they've done the right thing to just sit in there. But what the problem with sitting in the back of a group is you can't really react to anybody that goes up off the front. And it's a very dangerous position to be in, but it can be a good place to conserve some energy. So it's a real balancing act. But as they've crested that hill, you can see they've got a pretty good gap on the group behind, 30-odd seconds, and almost a minute back to the majority of that chasers. There's 2 or 3 chasers in between them, but that's a significant selection. And
attack
looks
here
like
from Berry. Berry's attacking.
Now, is he making the mistake of going for the sprint banner, not knowing that there's no points at the sprint banner? And he's taking Ben Ruth with him, so
this could
this could work.
It's not an all-out sprint. He might be really confused now as to why a whole lot of people haven't followed him.
And a lot of people are reacting now because his Mark and John Story have both putting out some big numbers to get across to them. I don't know. I'd love to find out what the thinking was behind that. Was it a mistake? Was it intentional? It's definitely created a gap. Will that gap stick? I think they're going to come back together. It looks like those guys at the front have sat up a little bit, but it's a bit of chat going in there.
So he's sort of like the Tadej Pogacar of the Tour de France, because he is so far ahead on points. He's on 70 points. The next guy down is on about 48. So no one is going to be pulling Ben Ruth tonight. That is just not going to happen. So yeah, they need to keep that chat going. We will head over to the women's race now, because they are about to hit the lead-in to the sprint. And I just want to just show as well, we'll get Sonia Foote up on the chat, the rider cam as we hit the sprint, because she'll be laying down some watts. We do actually have as well a message here from Kevin O'Peel, who's busy watching. He's saying Tulare Reese is someone to watch. Now, she is in this front group. 11 watts per kg. So very hard. Here we go.
Tulare's very strong.
With the sprint, though.
So there's
have a look how they go.
There's the banner in the distance. So they're approximately 300 meters from it now, 300 or 400 meters from it now. So depending on how people rate their sprint is to when they'll start it. 200 meters is about now. So who's moving off the front? Britt Lytton. There she goes.
Straight away. Oh, she looks amazing. This looks so
well, there
good.
you go.
She will not have liked her race last week. This one is one for
I
her.
told, yeah.
Owning it.
I called it.
Owning it.
I called it.
Carly Francis in second and Amy Hollenby in third, with Anthea Oliver Very respectable
Yeah,
fourth place. That was awesome. Sonia Foot there got caught off guard a bit behind as these hitters went for it. I will go back and
that's
just have a
great.
look also at the B Cats who are fighting it out just a little bit behind. They're coming out to a similar part of the course. Wow. We do have replays as well, so we'll try and get some of the replays up as we go through. But that was sprint number 1. 2 more.
It
For
looks
those
like
to
Margot
come.
hasn't made the gap. Margot's got caught from behind from that group she's trying to get away from. So Margot, but she had a crack. She had a go at it.
And
Yeah.
here
So
is some of the B
let's
Cat riders going. Sarah Meadows here from NZ Bro.
Hannah Martin. Well, there's only 2 Bs in this front group. In this group we're looking at the moment.
And Hannah
There's a couple of
Martin,
A's that have been dropped. Yeah,
she's
Hannah's
taken it
strong.
out over Meadows. Meadows just slotting in behind. So it looks like Martin is going to solidify her points at the front. Looking good there. We have an attack on the front in the men's race. So we'll head over there just because the women have now done sprint number 1. Men heading over there now.
And KJ from Norway. So he's an NZ Bro athlete from Norway. Super strong athlete, great time trialist. And he's just looks like he's got Ben Ruth with him. And they've got a 3-second lead on Mark Boasted. So Ben's gone over the top of him. KJ looks like he might have let him go. But, maybe he didn't let Ben go. Maybe he just couldn't keep up. We know how strong Ben is. But they're coming around to this left-hander up here before they'll meet the roundabout. And then it's got that lead into that sprint. So they're still quite a long way out, but there's clearly some intention from Ben to get the points, get as many points as he can early, and secure that lead.
This is insane.
Mark Bose's come across.
Yeah. This is
Mark Bose's made
insane
it
power
across.
from Ben Ruth. I mean, just to get away like this from that pack. I mean, I do actually have the camera on him, so I know he is up out of the saddle working crazy hard for this.
Can you confirm he's riding at 60 RPM?
It looks like he's up out of the saddle doing that. Looks like Mark Bose.
He's got.
I hope
Mark's rolling him.
Yeah, he's going to roll him. They're coming up to the sprint now. Take it away.
Looks like Mark has definitely got some edge here, but Ben's on his wheel. Ben's drafting him. Now, interesting. Ben on a Tron, Mark on a disc. Ben's rolled him. And that's just pure power. That Ben is just strong, and he's just consistently watt per kilo higher than Mark. Although Mark's coming back at him now. Mark's making a final ditch attempt, and he might get it. Oh,
we'll have to see.
I don't know.
That was close. That was close. And we've got the group behind.
On time. Yeah.
Jan Litchwark
now it's going to be
fourth. That was Kay there, and then a bigger group
KJ.
behind. Now, what would you do, Mark Bosted and Ben Ruth? Rage on ahead?
I think you push on. I mean, you got a 7-second lead. Might as well make those other riders work hard to get you. If you just sit at tempo, for them, 4.5 to 5 watts kilos, not that difficult. Make those other riders sit at 5.5 to try and pull you back. Why not? They've got a 9-second lead. That's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, we'll get on with Thomas again when we can. Thomas Berry.
Looks like Thomas has just been off the back there.
And thanks to everyone who has come in to the Zoom call. I know sometimes when you're sweating away, it's not the first place you want to be, is right on camera. But he looks like he's relaxing a little bit, having a gel there.
Yeah, good to see. Fueling. 15 minutes, 16 minutes in. It's good to be getting that fuel in. It looks like they just pulling the boys back up the front, or is that another rider who's just drifted off? No, it looks like Mark and Ben are still up the front, but these two riders are moving across to them. So that's Alex Heaney and Jan Litchwark. Alex Heaney is obviously one of the best road racers in the country at the moment. So we've got some real talent in this race. John Story is there as well. He's pushing across to them. So they're not letting these two go off the road, up the road.
No, and
they're definitely having a crack.
Poor Thomas, who was sitting there sort of recovering, sitting up, having a gel, and now paces back on, and he's got to get back in this group as we saw Jan Litchwark hit those orange numbers. And yeah, that's a bit of a tricky place. But you just you can't sort of. I found with Swift racing, you can't get distracted for a second. Otherwise, you find you can be out the back pretty quickly, especially on a flat course. I've found.
Yeah.
You can actually see in the men's race the B categories are just coming around behind too. So we'll try and I'll see if I can flick back maybe and see if I can get some B cat. I don't want to flick around too much and then lose people, but we'll see what we can do. If
we could see if Tom Burgess is making the move in that B race. We know that he's one of the strongest riders in the field. And here we are now coming up to it, and it
This is
looks like,
just the back of the A cats here. Ryan hasn't
oh
seen. I'm
yeah,
surprised. I thought for a sec he just got dropped off. He put in some orange numbers, so he might have just got caught unawares a little bit. Woman about halfway up to getting up to the next sprint. I can't jump around outside of the A's until the A's are sort of near finish. So once they're getting near the end, we'll get across to the others. But
those
yeah,
two are still off the front, but Josh Haggerty's making a move to get across them. This is like a road race. This is the sort of attacking we see in a criterium bike race where you've got someone up the front, someone wants to bridge across, they break away from that group, and look at that, Josh has caught them just like that.
yeah.
Fantastic riding. So very, very strong riders in this field, and we've got someone else making a move, John Story. So they can see that this is a selective group, and these riders jumping across are prepared to put the effort in to get across there. And you've always said, Anna, you've got to get across as quickly as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what John's doing. That's what Josh did. And again, someone else is countering with them. That's Jan Lichwark's going across, and the riders at the back in that main pack are probably just looking at going, please don't go, because they know in the end they've got to react to it as well.
Yeah, got the women heading into the second sprint now. So this is another sprint for points. So important one there. We saw Lytton just absolutely dominate that first.
I think we'll see the same thing again. I didn't see anyone. Yeah, I didn't see anyone move up on Brit. She got that little lead, and no one could really get across to her. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they play it. She's sitting right at the back. She is a smart sprinter. She's doing no work. Just taking her time to move up.
It's just first across line, so she knows start at the back, get a bit of a draft, but here she goes.
There she goes.
Or someone's got.
The great thing about this is there's no power ups. So this is just bike rider skill.
No, there's power ups. There they are getting dropped. So
look at that. Yeah.
So Britt, I think she might have gone too early. I think we've got a chase here from Hollenby and Vanessa Murray, who's got an impressive sprint. Britt has gone too early here. She's been rolled by Amy Hollenby and Vanessa Murray. Impressed.
Very close to the line. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm not surprised Vanessa Murray did well on a hill climbing course, but I did not know she had such a good sprint. So great effort there. That was an awesome time sprint from Vanessa Murray. I will just see if I can get a replay on that, because Britt, I think she tried to get the jump just a touch too early. What would you say?
Britt obviously didn't have a power up, and so she obviously knew that her only advantage was to go before the others use their power ups and make them do the counter. But as you can see, the power up versus the just pure ride power, it isn't enough. Interesting.
Yep. So we see.
I was wrong on that one.
You were, but I didn't pick Vanessa either. I was kind of going for Fiona.
No.
But looking here at Britt, here she went. So very early. I don't know what happened to her power up. Maybe because they can just get the Joker, which is nothing. So
she might have got nothing. Yeah.
And just coming through here, look at all those orange numbers. I'm trying to look at Reese. So Reese has got the highest watts per kg, but just not nailing the timing. Britt's coming here through the front, rolled there. Vanessa Murray coming through. Amy Hollenby, impressive effort from her too. Looks like Fiona.
And Fiona may have got. No, Fiona. Looks
Britt.
like Fiona might have just got over Britt then.
I'm going to have to really quickly head over to the men's race, because we're approaching the sprint. And again, Ben Ruth and Mark Bostock.
Ben Ruth.
Rob, talk me through it. How are they letting Ben Ruth get away every time?
I don't know if they're letting him. I think he's just so strong. He's honestly, he was such a good runner. He's got a massive aerobic capacity. And Mark's the same. He's got a huge engine on him. And, when you've got two very skilled Zwift racers with massive engines.
This is a mano a mano. Bosted Ruth.
Yeah.
Has Bosted got it? Bosted's taken it.
He's got him. Yeah, he's got him. Yeah. He had a nice little kick at the finish there.
Fight for the smaller places. Jan Lichwark again. Bobby Kells. John Story. That's awesome to see from Bobby Kells as well. I know usually his mum is in here watching. So congrats to Bobby there. It looks like he might have taken out fourth. So got some points there.
Yeah.
Now, look, the interesting
And Jan's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Jan's doing a great job, because he must know that he's a bit down on points in the series. And so he's taking every opportunity he can.
Yeah, it's what I'm finding interesting on the left-hand side of the screen is you're seeing the time through the sprint segment. Now, we're not awarding points on time. It's on who's across the line. But you look down there. Bosted and
Jan's got the fastest.
Bosted and Ruth are nowhere near the top 10 of those times. No. You've got it's because they're going early. Now, it seems to be a strategy
Yeah.
that works, but these other guys, they need to be a little bit more clued on because their sprints are, I think, are superior. And maybe that's why
Mm.
Ruth and Bosted are going early. They know that maybe, if the yarns in there, they just can't beat them. But man, they need to clue onto this a bit more, in my opinion.
It becomes a game of poker because they know that those guys are strong from a long way out, maybe not as strong in the short distance sprint, but do the pure sprinters want to burn their matches to hold them and hopefully be able to sprint over them at the end, or play the hand and hope that they do get caught by the group, which is obviously not happening because those two guys are staying away. Now this is confusing when you start lapping a group. You can, if you're not astute, not onto it, you can get lost in the pack that you're passing, and suddenly gaps open to the second to the slower group from the front from the slow group to the front group. And it looks like everybody's making it through okay. Um, so yeah, that's a stressful moment if you're already suffering and you've got to get through following the pack. It looks like they said that group they've passed is doing well to stick in there as well. There's no rules against that.
And they're not actually, so you can see it in the dots on the top right. So the blue dots are the sea cat riders. So they're just sitting in here with some A cats. So
You're doing a great job.
yeah, it's the
That's exactly what I'd be doing.
it's what happens with these lapped races is that they will tend to catch. The reason we've got all the groups in together is because then I can follow the other categories once the A's finish. So I do want to highlight other riders in the racing. So that's why we have them kind of all in the same world at the same time. But I do see Aaron Bleakley, who I call the PC Yoda. He helped me build my own computer. And
he's telling them to back off. They're not going to back off. There's a couple of my riders in that C group that are sticking in there, and I'm stoked for them.
Bosted's sick of it though. Bosted is attacking off the front.
Look at that. Yeah, just he's loving it. Mark was in an outside bike race on the weekend, and maybe he's just found that love for racing, and he just wants to be able to attack every opportunity.
Now I do have something exciting. Is I can now go on board if I can find him here with Ben Ruth. He's changed his camera angle. I can see him there cranking away on the stage's bike. Good to see. Where has he gone? I just saw him before pop up. He's not chasing the
Mark's
star.
got 3 seconds on
there he is. I know he does.
Mark's got 3 seconds.
There we go.
That's a good move. He's got 4 seconds.
What's happened to it here?
He's frozen. There he is.
Oh, his cam's a little bit stuttery, but you can see this is the.
He's got some good facials going on.
Yeah. Now, you can see just off to the left, there's a little movement. Now, that is the awesome father-son combo. So great to see. I am hugely motivated by that. That is awesome.
I'm glad Ben's sort of wearing a shirt as well, where he's got bibs on.
Yeah.
Keep it clean.
Be careful what you're showing in your rider cams. We will jet over to the women soon, though. They are about to hit their third and final sprint for points. Next sprint will be for the finish line. So this is the third and final. Great to see Ben Ruth there, though. Thanks, Ben, for changing that camera angle and coming up on the rider cam. We'll definitely plug in with him.
Looks like Mark's still got a 4-second lead as well. He's
going I'll keep an eye on what's happening over there, but let's check out what is happening on the women's side as they take this left-hander and approach sprint number 3. Now, who's your pick now? I feel like it's all up in the air. I think what's happening is people are cluing on to what the sprint is actually like.
Yeah, well, the big question will be is how many matches has Brittany burnt in those 2 sprints? One of them paid off for her, the second one didn't. And maybe she's beginning to feel it a little bit. I'm going to push for Fiona, actually.
Okay. Nice, yep.
Yep, this is a race of attrition, and she's an extremely strong Ironman athlete. And I just think that she's probably, if she goes long, I think she could do it. It depends what the power-ups will be. But, I'm going to put some money on Fiona for this one. But as you can see, they're coming up to 200 to go.
Anyone going early? Looks like someone's...
Yeah, Fiona might have gone a bit early. Vanessa's going. Vanessa Murray's moving.
She's not sprinting, though. She's just putting in a huge lead out for the ride behind.
She's drilling it. And here they come. Brittany's coming up on her. Brittany's moving up. Fiona's out of the saddle, possibly. Brittany's having an attack. Now Vanessa's used a feather, which is not the best power up to sprint with, but you can still win with it. And she's holding Brittany off.
She's holding it. She's holding it.
And here comes
Absolutely.
Sonia,
Oh,
Fiona. Oh,
how would you call
geez, that
that?
was
Oh my gosh.
five, five across the line there. That's a
Now
close
we'll
one.
go back to those replays because right now we're into the men hitting their sprint. So it's very, very quick racing with these guys. And
Looks like they've caught Mark.
yeah, John Story's gone early. John Story has gone early
Great
with
move.
Jan Lichwaks. I'll take the bird's eye view with you that the woman. Jan has got the fastest sprint time.
His fastest sprinter.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Look at that. He's just moved
Whoa.
over him.
That is insane. Straight over. Ben Ruth chasing from
Carrying on.
behind. Ah.
Not enough. So
Not
this is the
enough.
speed of Jan Lichwak is enough to stay away. Oh, it's a long sprint. Oh, there he goes. Nicely done.
Looks like
Nicely
Mark
timed.
said, just didn't quite time that right.
And Mark's countering it. And is Mark going to carry on? No, he's not. No, he's off.
Haggerty, oh, he's a bit further back. I was just wondering. Haggerty, I'm surprised he hasn't taken up more of these. He is one of the top sprinters in the community. Now, I just want to say there is a problem in the women's race. Vanessa Murray, off, gone.
Uh-oh.
Gone. 2 seconds
What's happened?
back. She is back off the race. You can see her just a bit behind there. Now, what's going to happen here? We know Vanessa Murray is leading the points. Now, these guys will know that, and they are going to have to drill this off the front. And look at Anthea Oliver, 4.6 watts a kg. They are working so hard
they can see.
to drop Vanessa. But look how hard Vanessa is working, 5.3 watts to get back on. I mean, a lot of matches burnt there. That is a huge effort for that to
and that lead out, it just shows you how hard Vanessa had to work on that lead out to try and win that sprint, and the counter attack that came after it was just too much for her to hang on. And now she's paying a price for it, and that's a gap that's going to be hard for her to close that. They just that front pack just have to keep the pressure on. The rolling group should know, and they're all smart enough riders to know what's happening here. But who's prepared to push harder? Who's prepared to stick in for longer? Sonia's working hard.
Yeah, I thought we'd just pull her up.
3 seconds.
It just gives some context to what these people are riding through. I mean, Britt Lytton, she is. She knows
Vanessa's not going to get back.
No.
Yeah, Vanessa won't get back at this rate. She's not pushing big enough watts. She's
popped.
She is
blowing. That is
this
is huge in the women's race, Rob. Leader of the points. She got almost all points last week, first across line. I wonder if you're looking at a concerted effort here between, I'm looking at the NZ Bro riders, Francis, Oliver, Britt Lytton. I mean, have they said that last sprint, they'll be on Discord. I can probably go check if they're on Discord.
Vanessa's an NZ Bro as well, though. They might be all talking together.
True. They well, that's going to be hard to have. Maybe Vanessa didn't jump on the Discord.
Well, looking at the average power at the moment, Vanessa's got the highest average power of that group at the front. So she's actually worked harder than any of them in that whole race. Britt Lytton's got the lowest average power for that group. Anthea's got very low. Britt and Anthea have both got 3.4 watts per kilo. Vanessa's been working at 4 watts per kilo for this whole race. So that's just an indication of how much not riding in the wheels can affect your performance.
Yep.
And that might be what we've seen happen there.
Now, I do want to say in the men's race, we've got quite a situation on our hands as well. Sorry, we've had riders 20 seconds back. Thomas Berry, he is working so hard, 7 watts a kg, 5 watts a kg to try and catch back up to this group. What we've got is Haggerty. He rolled through, and now this is a front group of going off course there. A front group. That was a bit weird.
Cyclocross.
Yeah, these guys are lighting up the race. I mean, you could so easily just sit in the bunch and make it so easy. Look at what these guys are doing and how hard they're working.
So as an indication for this, Thomas Berry's at 4.9 for the race so far. Compare that to John's 4.4, Josh Haggerty's 4.2. So even though Thomas is behind, he's having to work so much harder overall from those guys in front that it's very, very hard for him to come back. But he's committing to it. And it's only 8 seconds. It only takes a little bit of let up from these riders in front for him to catch back up again. But, these riders they're not holding back. They're not easing off. They're still keeping that pressure on.
Look at that 50 RPM from Ben Ruth there. I just look at him grinding on that bike to get back to this group. I mean, it is, you can see the quads. on him now. Like it's crazy just how hard he is working. Um, yeah,
Looks
it's
like they're lapping a group there.
they'll be lapping some other A's and a couple of D's and B's around the place. But yeah, Ben Ruth now, he's obviously hearing us. He's pushing off the front. And look at that
7.4.
pain face.
Yeah, he's making a move. And he's opening that gap up pretty nice. Well, the John Story's holding him, but he looks like he's gapped about a second to Jan. It's just going to be interesting because obviously this is for the final lap. They will be finishing at the banner, so it's this is where the race finishes. So it's
Now,
going to be a
what's going to be real exciting is we have the men and women literally finishing at the same time.
oh
They're both
brilliant.
sitting on
How
26
we commentate
kilometers.
this?
So this is going to be a real test of my production skills as to how we do this. So bear with me. We will try and do the side by side screen and.
Should we go to ads?
Yeah, I
We'll
know,
go to an
let's
ad
go
break.
ads. I'm feeling stressed. I'm getting real stressed. This is quite a lot to go with. Now, as we're watching this, have a think about who your rider of the night might be, Rob. We'll have
They're
a look at some of the other
virtually on the
categories as well,
same
but
place on the course.
literally, I've got
Yeah,
two. They're going through some groups here. We do have Bowstead. He has opened up early.
yeah.
Round
Mark's
this
having a go.
corner, the women will hit it. Oh, it's literally the same time.
I'm going for Britt Lytton to win,
She's going
and
early. Look how early she's going.
yeah, she's going. She's testing them out. So Britt for the win, and Mark's going to get caught, but I think Josh looks like he's going to go over him, and Josh should have the time and the distance on the riders behind. So it looks like Josh Haggerty win the men's race. Britt
Oh,
Lytton
Britt Lytton.
looks like she'll win the women's race.
And look at Reese though, Tulare Reese, who we heard about earlier. She's
200 metres to go.
She's chasing her
Oh,
down.
it's close. It's going to be a close one. I think Britt's got it.
And Haggerty,
Josh Haggerty.
now the men Bowstead with Story.
And
great performance.
she's caught her. She's caught her on the line.
Whoa!
Oh, Tulare Reese.
I will take a
Right.
little replay of that. That was that was amazing to see.
Kev Opal picked it.
I will get over to some of the other races out there in the other categories very shortly as we go through the replay. Rob, maybe you can talk us through the replay as I was trying to get a crazy amount of camera angles as they were coming through. But
Yeah.
here we go. You talk
You
us
did
through
well.
this.
So as you can see, I mean, Mark had to do what he could do, and he went early, but Josh Haggerty had a power up, which made all the difference there in the women's race, with Britt making that decision to go early, really calling out the riders to see who's got the legs to keep up with her. And we knew that Tulare was a strong sprinter, and she probably had the biggest watts per kilo in the for over that 15 seconds, which she certainly did. And she was able to get over her. So in that, as you can see, men and women have just gone past that last section. They're about 300 to go. Mark had already made that gap, and Britt had already gone as well by this stage. So it was just a matter of who could come back at them at the end. And Josh Haggerty had that power up, and I think Tulare had a power up as well. They go around that roundabout. Let's just see where they are. I wonder if Tulare had a power up. I'm sure she did. She must have. Yeah, interesting. So that was a true sprint. It was all about who had the power for the finish, and Britt Lytton obviously thought that she could do it from a long way out, and it's a great tactic to use. Mark Bowstead was the same, but it just wasn't quite enough at the finish. And here we are for the Bees, watching Tom Burgess. So he's probably the strongest sprinter in that race. Tom's the kind of guy that goes a long, long way out. He's full of watts, and he is possibly going to do the same thing in this race here. Looks like we're a little bit from the finish, but they've definitely got a good sized gap on the group behind. Devon Manchester's sort of at the back there. But in terms of the riders in that pack who are the strongest sprinters, Justin Roy, he's very strong. Devon, but yeah, Tom Burgess is probably the one to watch. Tufts is good. Tufts is great on the road as well.
Just want to say too, sorry, Hannah Martin looks like she took out the B women's, so
Oh, that's great.
showing from her, and just
Good
trying to
athlete
get
of mine.
us. Oh, fantastic! Just trying to get some other riders up there on the women's
Craig
side.
Clark in this race, it was an extremely good race. So Tom and Craig raced together in the same team time trial, and Zwift Racing League team. So these riders all race together a lot, so they know exactly what they're doing, how each other's strengths are. They'll be playing each other off very well.
Got the C category women up on screen, so it's Gail Harvey Haywood. This is the lead group of C women. Katrina Shores. That must be Deirdre Lack from the cartel. Yep, Deirdre Lack. So these guys are the hitters in their crew. They're the ones who are sort of at the top of the game. And the men on the, looking at the B men, they are about to actually come through for their sprint. So we'll have a look at these B men and C women, and then we'll see if we can get some D action as well.
Yeah, got the left-hand turn for the B men coming up. And then it is that stretch to the finish. They go around that roundabout. And then we'll see them opening up. So they're about 500 to go here. So as we can see, that they're pretty well bunched up at the moment, but someone is moving off the front. Who would that be?
On the women's side?
He's not really not making many big attacks there. They're sort of waiting. They're waiting for each other.
There's a lot of
No one's
tree
dropped the power
foliage on this course. So looks as though...
Gets in the way of the drone.
We've got eyes on Burgess. This is the lead group. Looks like the bees ahead of them will be lapped, but Burgess is
They're leaving it for a long time.
He's gone.
They're leaving it for a long way out.
Oh, who was that? He kicked up real fast. This rider here. Lynch. Ellen coming through.
Oh, Stu Lynch. Looks like Ellen's gone. Oh, who's coming up behind the third? Justin Roy.
Whoa.
Justin Roy. Brilliant.
Nice job. And I've got to pull this up because this is the face of he'll pop his head up soon, hopefully. It's not Ben Ruth. It is
Tom Burgess.
And that's what he looks like at the end of the race.
He's worked hard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tom knows how to work hard.
So his heart rate's still sitting at 176. We are seeing the women coming through for their sprint finish in the C category, and this is for some huge points here as well.
So Gail Harvey Haywood, we're looking at Holditch.
Might take it away. Goodall took it over the line. Harvey Haywood in second.
Hannah Goodall. Fantastic.
Yeah. Now we'll just see if we can get one more lot of different cat men's in here, and then we'll come back and I can get started on all the results. We can get going. Thanks to everyone again who came through with the Zoom calls. It was amazing. It was actually really interesting for me.
I'm glad we didn't have Margot on for that Zoom call.
On the side. She looks pretty special. She's smiling now though. She's smiling, so I can see her there with her setup. She's looking all right. Got a few of the Rob Eyre, here we go. He looks like he's doing pretty well on the men's side. So let's have a look at where they're going. Robin Eyre representing the Waitakere Triathlon and Multisport Club. Looking good here. And
it's a good group coming to the finish in this one.
Yeah, this is a great
good size group.
Yeah.
Trevor Millen's off to Kona, so this is great training for him.
Oh, fantastic. Gene McNaught. Yeah, this is real good for Kona. Just lots of sprints, right? It's just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. And we will... Who tell us now, Rob, you tell me rider of the night, men's side.
Well, I'm torn between Mark and Ben. I mean, who had the more time off the front? I don't know. I'm going to say Mark. Mark went for it a long way out, and he was off the front a lot of times. I'm going to say Mark Bosted.
Okay, you're going to go Mark Bosted.
Yep.
Now, let's have a think of who... I'll go the woman. She'll love this. There we go. Brett Lennon on the women's side. I know she got rolled at the... Did she get rolled at the finish? She did, didn't she?
She did. Yeah. Yep. They both got rolled at the finish. Actually, we picked the second places.
We're going for the underdog. We feel sorry for them. Yeah. That's who we're going for. Mark Boston on the men, Britt Lytton on the women. I just like it because she got a whole lot of points. And I like Mark because he attacked every time and got onto Ben's wheel. So good choices there as we're seeing the C category men come around for their sprint finish. Who have you got?
Yeah,
For
let's
this
see
one?
what happens here. Actually,
This is a big group to come to the finish.
yeah. Hang on, let me have a good think about this. Actually, this is a good race. I'll see how quickly my Zwift Power Live can update, so I can get a bit of a cheat sheet going on here. Is Jock Prue still in there?
Oh,
I
don't
think he
see.
is.
No, is he?
No, I don't think he's a good sprinter.
We've got
Elliot
some bees in
McKinnell.
here too, by the way. We've got some bees
Yeah,
battling the seas.
Elliot is Brit's brother, so
Nice.
he'd want to be going one better than she.
Got Bron
I'm gonna say
Healy.
Elliot.
Oh,
Oh,
there they go. Who is that attacking off the front? Oh, that's Robin Air, who we're just following.
right.
Oh, that's
Good on
awesome.
him.
So he's this is great performance here from this pack. G McNaught chasing pretty hard behind Millen as well, and Morrison.
Oh, come on, Trevor. Come on, Trevor.
Look at this.
My
Morrison coming
boy.
through
Trevor's
so
my
fast.
boy.
Oh, wow. That was
Morrison.
quite the performance like that. This is some epic sprint finishes coming through for the end. Oh, I'm
That's
tired,
great.
man. Rob, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't racing.
Man, that was, I'm like sweating just trying to get all of this happening at the same time. There's nothing worse,
Well-
I've got to say, from a production point of view, than having the men and a women's race finish literally at the same time.
You couldn't have planned that any better.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, thanks again to Barry Domestique sponsoring this series. It's a blast. We've got awesome competitions happening, awesome battles. I will crank onto the results and try and get those through. I'll also do a bit of a highlights package, send that through as well, so people can see in their own time how those kind of sprints unfolded. But what are your thoughts, Rob? I mean, was that was quite the course?
Well, I mean, I know I missed last week's, but I think just looking at this week, we're a level above where we were last year. I think just the style of racing is a lot more exciting, a lot more attacking. The year that people have had away from the Zwift racing, from the Try and Z series has been great because they've obviously done a lot more racing on Zwift. They've sort of learned how to play the game, how to use the sprints and use the terrain to their advantage, and it's making really, really exciting racing. So I'm actually looking forward to the next few races coming up for the rest of the season. Yeah. Because if this was anything to go by, then it's going to get fantastic. But yeah, I'm just so impressed with how people are just going at it. They're just having a crack every opportunity.
Oh,
they're not sitting in and making it a bunch ride and with a kick to the finish.
I mean, and that's perfect. As commentators, that makes it so exciting. That's why I feel like I'm losing my voice. Is you see early attacks. You see Vanessa Murray. I mean, dropped top rider, top of that huge shake up in there. Next week we've got Temples and Towers. This is officially now my favorite course on Zwift, so I'm pumped for this one. 33K.
Yeah, that's a good course.
I mean, it's not like the epic climb. You've got 3 climbs: rooftop, castle, temple. They're all, one of them's fairly long, about 6 minutes. The others are only about 1 to 2 minutes. So it will suit that. I'm looking on the women's side at the sort of Sonia Foote, Fiona Gallagher kind of 3 to 5 minute power. On the men's side, well, you can't go past Ben Ruth ever, but what do you think?
Well, the temple climb's a 5-minute climb, isn't it? So it's not for the pure big watts rider. It's for the rider who's got a better watt per kilo over that 5-minute range. It's a gravel climb as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's bike choice, huge.
Yeah. Are we going to be seeing the move? The most controversial move in the game is to change or not to change.
Change.
Now
best move ever. Change it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've done both. And I still don't know which is the best move. I know it's probably best because a gravel bike is much faster than a road bike on that course. But if you've got a lead and it's a 15-second lead, do you risk it and make the change and have that group close up on you, or what do you do? So hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what people do because this is going to be really, really exciting.
I might have to put out some tips and tricks for the ones who haven't done a bike change. I've got it down to 5 seconds, so I'll send out some tips and tricks for people who want to do a bike change or don't actually know that they can ride a gravel bike. So it'll be good for them. And phenomenal racing. Thanks to everyone who came in the socials. It's been pretty lit up, which was awesome to see. Awesome to the riders. Thanks everyone who's coming along. Thanks, Rob. Awesome to see you again.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah.
Light it up. I love it. So awesome work, everyone. And we'll see you same time next week. Keep an eye on all our socials for the results coming out. And ride on.
Yeah.